Aloha and welcome to this conversation. Remember to breathe, caregiving one step, one breath at a time. Thank you for joining us for this community conversation that is really bringing together trusted voices, people that I trust, and advocates for caregivers from every aspect of life. I'm your host, Lani Almanza, and I live on the island of Oahu in Hawaii. But I love how we are now able to reach across the world, go beyond our horizons to meet people where they are. And so we're here today to let you know that you have a community waiting for you to help guide you back to wholeness and to wellness, one step, one breath at a time. So let me ask you this. Have you ever felt lost or broken? Are you the one that carries everything for everyone else, but has lost yourself along the way? My answer to both of those questions is yes. And that's how I learned my greatest lesson as a caregiver during my most challenging caregiving journey with my son, Jacob, who passed away from cancer 20 years ago. The lesson is remember to breathe, one step, one breath at a time. And that's why, in collaboration with the Shine Circle and Debbie Prediger and all of her communities, I've created this panel, this conversation. So now I'd like to introduce my guests for this conversation, two women that I highly regard. So Savi Makalena and Dr. Staci Moore. Thank you both for joining me. So I would just like to ask each of you to introduce yourselves and share with us how you would answer those opening questions and intention. Have you ever felt lost or broken? And are you the one that carries everything for everyone else, but has lost yourself along the way? Savi, will you go first?
Absolutely. Mahalo for having me today, Lonnie. This is a wonderful, wonderful panel that you put together and a great opportunity for caregivers to have a voice. Because I think that one of the things that we think about is when we don't think about caregivers, but when you become a caregiver is that you become invisible and you become isolated and you have no voice. And so to be able to share that is an absolutely wonderful thing. Um, and I know you have a set question, and I'm going to yield to a little bit of brain fog because, as you know, I am about a week post-op right now, and in and out of meds, and so I appreciate your understanding to know that I may not exactly be functioning at 100%. And for someone who usually goes at 200% as a caregiver, yes, I am the one that cares for everybody. Have been my whole life. Even in high school, they called me mother. When I was a boss, they called me mom. And I was a mom and a grandmother and a wife, and I just a grandmother, everything. I think I said that, but yes. And so I think that probably the hardest part is losing yourself, and you become what everyone else expects of you,
Mhm.
and you never really look at what it is you need to have in your life to feel whole, and to feel as though you're really accomplishing something that's your passion because you don't make time for it. And I think that's the hardest part about being a caregiver is finding that balance in life, to find a passion and to find something that completes you and that gives you the strength you need to continue on, because I think we're always going to be caregivers.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Um, so, Dr. Staci, how about you? How do you answer those questions or intentions about being lost?
From me as well, thank you for the opportunity, Lonnie. It's been a while coming. We've been talking about we need to have some kind of conversation, and then when I heard about the wonderful group, Savvy, pleasure to meet you. I'm going to say one of the things that if the audience isn't going to notice, but I'm going to say I am still recovering from shingles myself. So if you're hearing nothing but the fact that caregivers really put themselves through the ringer. And it is not conscious most of the time. It's not intentional. We're not saying I'm going to run myself down until I don't have any more. But the giving is the natural component of it. And so, yes, many times. So a week and a half ago, I found myself in the position, yeah, exactly. And, I was saying, well, what in the world? When I started asking, well, what is it even? Like, I know it was associated with chickenpox, but, and it's like, oh, from stress. And I'm like, oh, really? So,
Imagine that.
What an odd thing to happen to a caregiver. Oh my goodness, you
yeah.
poor
And
thing.
we've just morphed into those roles. So I was that one as well. I was an only child. I was latchkey child. So even on the playground with other kids, I was the one that volunteered to make sure we got there and got back on time, that we took the little sister with us and that she was going to be okay so that the big brother could go. Like all of those things, like if it's in you, it's in you. And so it just continued over time. And you just start to, when you are around people that are more aware and that have systems and rituals and frameworks set up for themselves, even if it's just on a self-care basis, they're not a caregiver, then that's when you can see those things and you go, ooh, I want that glimpse. I'd like a piece of that. Maybe I need to try this. So that's when, and that's why community, network, resources. I just went through the guide for you all. Give me a break, yesterday, and got my, what I needed out of it for the moment, and earmarked a couple of other things. And so having those resources are so important, whether they're local or virtual or global. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, for me, it was in that caregiving role with Jacob where I really realized that if I didn't have some really foundational self-care habits, I wasn't going to make it. And so for me, that's where Remember to Breathe really came in. And I reflected that years prior, when Jacob was just 5, he was hit by a car in front of our house. And as I was rushing out the door, a neighbor stepped in front of me, grabbed my shoulders, and said, "Remember to breathe." And I really didn't think about it at that time, but certainly as we were going through Jacob's journey, that became foundational. So what I want to do right now is to pause for 3 deep breaths. So if everyone watching can just inhale and exhale to ground yourself in the present moment. Inhale and exhale to see new possibilities and choices. And inhale and exhale to take the next sacred step to discover yourself again. What I've discovered is those 3 deep breaths really help us be able to reset from chaos to calm. So whenever the chaos starts to build up, the stress starts to build up, to just start to have that little mantra, remember to breathe, can be so foundational to your next sacred step. So you can see that we've identified ourselves as caregivers, but I really want to use the definition from former First Lady Rosalind Carter that says there's only 4 kinds of people in the world: those who have been caregivers, those who are currently caregivers, those who will be caregivers, and those who will need caregivers. So that encompasses all of us at some point in our life, whether it started in early childhood or later or with senior parents. Wherever you are, you probably have a caregiving role. So I want to ask you, where do you see yourself in that definition? And so this time, Dr. Staci, if you could start with us and tell us which of those 4 caregiver roles do you see yourself in now? What was your greatest or most challenging caregiver role? And what was your greatest lesson in caregiving?
Oh gosh, loaded question, Lani. I am, let's see, I have been a caregiver in the past. Several instances, which in the role I wasn't aware, right? And you have to say, if you've had kids, you were a caregiver, period. If you've had a spouse, you probably were a caregiver. And then I am currently a caregiver to my stepfather who has dementia. Um, and then my mom will be 80 in November. So I'm assisting with her to kind of preserve her life. For me, she's still doing some caregiving as well, like when I had shingles or other times where she has to jump in. And so receiving that has been one of the newer things, right? Because when you're the caregiver, when somebody else takes care of you, then we have a lot of guilt complex usually. We are sometimes slower to receive, to even identify that there is a problem, because we don't want others to feel like, or the people that we're caregiving to feel like we're not going to give them 100% because we're not feeling 100%. So I love that Savvy asked for that grace at the beginning, because many times we don't. We just push through it and don't acknowledge it and don't want others to know that we may have a blind spot or a weak spot in the moment. What's the latter part of that questioning?
So what was your most challenging role, and what were your greatest lesson?
Challenging role is this one. This is a challenging role for me because it's not my father, because he has 5 children who have not assisted, aided, supported. One that did in a way by sending things and calling for a while, but and then because the challenging part was because in overcoming it, I didn't grow up with my father in my life. So when I initially got into this, I was very resentful that I had to take care of someone else's father. We had not established a relationship. So, but however, caregiving, caregiving will bring things out of you you never imagine. The love, the compassion, the understanding, uh, the feeling that I had from the beginning that now turns into a love for him, where I put everything into it as if he was my father. And in knowing, when you understand that in this case that it's the disease, and I had to get past that because I'm used to dealing with people face to face and adults being adults and holding their own, but getting past that. So that's been it. It has been rewarding for me, where I get hugs, and I ask for hugs, but it's really because I need to do something with him, but I tell him I need a hug. But then I really realized I really do need a hug. I need that. I have missed moments from a childhood that are being now fulfilled by me giving. I'm getting what I needed then back. So
awesome. Well, sending you a virtual hug.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Received.
So, Savvy, which of the 4 caregiver roles do you see yourself in right now?
One of the greatest movies that I always loved was, oh gosh, I just went blank on it. It was the one with the 4 women who all got divorced. Oh God, help me here, Lani. Goldie Hawn was in it, and Bette Midler was in it.
Oh, yeah, I know which one you're talking about, but I can't think of it either.
And they started this whole foundation based on the fact that husbands were leaving their wives for younger women, First Wives Club. There you go. Thank you, Savi. Thank God. And so one of the characters by Goldie Hawn's name was Elise. She was an actress. And she had a quote that I absolutely love. And she says, "You think I don't have emotions because I'm an actress. I'm an actress. I have all of them." Well, that's how I feel about caregiving. When you become a caregiver, you're never really one specific caregiver.
Mhm.
I think you're all of them.
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
you're all of them all the time. And I currently care for my mother-in-law. I was caring for my mother and father the past 12 years. My father passed a year and a half into it, and my mother recently passed in November. And the love of my life is going through cancer. And I've now become someone needing care as a caregiver
Mhm.
with this surgery that I had to go through. And so I'm also a pet mom. But and so I think that caregiver roles are so amazing. I think that the thing so much isn't that we recognize that we're caregivers, but that we help people to recognize that they are. I think the
Mhm.
problem lies in that no one sees themselves as a caregiver. I'm being a dutiful daughter. I'm being a loving wife. I'm being a mother. That's what mothers are supposed to do. I'm doing what's expected of me. And no one understands that that means that you become at risk as a caregiver as well.
Yeah.
And so I see myself in all of that, but I think that what we need to see is the risk.
Mhm.
And the current statistic, Lani, of course, you know it, I preach it all the time, is 40% of caregivers will pass before the ones that they're caring for. And that's not good odds.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we are high at risk for caregiver burnout and high at risk to not survive this. And so we need to be able to, and we need to recognize first and foremost that we are caregivers and that
Yeah.
there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That is an honorific title.
Yeah.
That is a great thing and a joy. And I love that you shared that about your father.
Yeah.
And I would say probably the most challenging part of being a caregiver, of course, is survival. But for me was my mother. My role as a caregiver was my mother. I took care of her my entire life, for as long as I can remember, because um, she was a Japanese national, and her English was not very good. And so as a child, I spoke both English and Japanese at a very young age, and I translated for her. I constantly had to look out for her and make sure she was protected. And I grew up as her protector. I wrote checks for her. I wrote notes for her. I translated menus for her. I translated recipes for her. I translated TV shows for her. I
Mhm.
wrote my own notes for school, which was great because I had no unexcused absences ever. And I, you know, and they knew my signature at the bank of my mom's, not my mom's own signature. I mean, I did everything for her. And what I didn't, my father did. And so she was constantly taken care of. And so I think that my most challenging was her in that way, not just in that way, but because I grew up as her protector, I had to then watch her disappear for 12 years, a little every day. And
Mhm.
for me, that was a challenge. I did not know that that's what dementia came with. I did not know that you had to watch someone
Mhm.
disappear
Yeah.
a little every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can tell I'm a movie buff. It's like Back to the Future, and Marty holds this picture in Back to the Future of his family starting to disappear
Mhm.
because time is changing and things are changing from the past. Well, I guess that's kind of a way to help you understand what happens to the person, though their body stays intact. Parts of them disappear that
Yeah.
Mhm.
you can't bring back,
Mhm.
and that becomes a real challenge.
Yeah.
And I think that for me was the hardest thing to ever do. I know that does happen in other illnesses as well because they lose their joy, they lose their spirit, they lose their sense of humor, they lose their personality.
Yeah.
But boy, with dementia, you just watch it go a little at a time, and you never know if it's going to be there the next day.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so that would be my most challenging. My best lesson just hit me upside the head a week and a half ago, which is to take care of myself. And, I think putting yourself first is something I preach all the time. And I would say for other caregivers is never put it off and never think you are doing it well. Because I always think I'm doing it well, balancing everything and taking care of my health and making sure that I'm doing well. And I'm pretty good about it. I mean, I'm alcohol free, nicotine free, sugar free, and now I'm fat free. But, I have all these things that, I do for free. But, I take pretty good care of myself, but I don't take as well as I should, as well as I would if I were my own caregiver. And I think that's, if I can leave that message, is become your own
Mhm.
caregiver too. Since you're such a good dang caregiver, go ahead and include yourself in that list.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that would be my lesson.
Thank you. Yeah. Just reflecting on both of you with fathers and parents, that both my parents. So after my son passed, I quickly moved into the role caring for my parents. And my dad already had been diagnosed with Parkinson's, but it was slow. The development of that was slow, um, until he started developing Parkinson's related dementia on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the same time, my mother, while we didn't really see it coming, was also developing dementia, which, as my dad's started to escalate, so did hers in trying to care for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so we made the decision to move them into an assisted living. But yeah, it was another 7 years for my dad and about 10 from my mom, that you slowly watch things disappear.
Yeah.
But also that moving them into assisted living, I'm the eldest of 4, and that just because they weren't living with me didn't mean that I wasn't still a caregiver. That being the oldest, I still had the responsibility as their executor and their power of attorney to be on call 24/7. And
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't until my mom passed, the day that she passed, I remember, after contacting everybody that needed to be contacted, as I was headed to bed, realized that it was the first time in over 20 years that I could actually turn off my phone, that I didn't have to leave it on vibrate or at a low tone so that I could get the next call. And
that
so
call, right?
that call, yeah. And so it was, I remember feeling that big exhale
Mm-hmm.
as I realized that I had this big exhale and that I could breathe a little bit differently from that point on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank
My
you both.
turn to send a hug to you.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Hugs to
Thank
you.
you.
Yes.
And I just want to thank everybody that's been commenting, that's watching, that hugs to everyone out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is where my heart lives, as you can see. Oh, okay. So next I want to ask, because as caregivers, and these two women are experts and leaders in many ways, but some of the things that have become your best resource or your best tool, that you would want to share with the viewers for caregivers. So, Savvy, let's go with you this time.
Well, gosh, I hate to all encompass it and say that thanks to my, founding my own nonprofit organization that cares for caregivers, Give Me a Break has really helped me to sustain a lot. But I will say that probably the most significant thing about Give Me a Break, and not just connecting caregivers to resources, and I think resources are important, um, so not one less than the other. But the first thing that probably started when I began Give Me a Break was the support sessions. And we started during the pandemic. And so everything was online. And we have had online sessions, support sessions, every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. And we've had a couple others, that were at different times through the week for other areas of the continental United States, as well as other continents in the world that have joined in. But the Tuesday 8 p.m. slot has nearly, I hold up my hand for the amount of times we have missed. And I just missed one this past Tuesday, which is really weird. But so I have to make one more hand now. But that consistency of support, and the groups have sort of waved in and out, depending on who was caregiving or who wasn't, or who was most in need, and who survived and who didn't. We've lost several because of that dang statistic. But having a strong support group outside of your family, having an external support group, to me, is one of the most powerful tools for a caregiver. And I don't mean going on to a bitch session. And I have to point that out, because we run a very different support group. It's a very positive, safe space. And I insert a lot of education into it, and I insert some homework into it. And we do a lot of, support to each other and help each other come up with solutions to issues that are happening. And it just, to me, I always thank them, even though I conduct it. And I say, you guys saved my life. Even though I'm the one that organized and conducted it, I thank every caregiver there, because of that, I feel, is the most powerful tool you need as a caregiver.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, this is, Savvy and I connected so well 6 years ago, because this is something I talk about too, is having, I call it my lifeboat theory, and having people in your lifeboat. Lifeboats have very specific purposes, and you want people in there that are going to throw you the rescue ring if you happen to fall overboard. And so it's a very select group of people that you put in your lifeboat. But it's critical to have those people, and to know that those are the ones that you can call at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, I just need somebody to listen. I can't do this. What do I do?
I want to kill them. And not mean it.
Yeah. But just, to have those people. And for me, I can say that there are probably 10 that are securely in my lifeboat. And one of the things that I always tell people is to acknowledge those people, let them know that they're in your lifeboat, because it's more than likely that you are also in theirs. And so it's this giving and receiving in this caregiving journey that we can all support each other. So Dr. Staci, what about you? What resource would you want to share with the viewers today?
And you've heard me talk about this, Lani. It's resources and relationships, period, are the foundation of it all. That external group provides exactly that. It's crucial for me, because I am very good at masking when I am struggling, when I have shortfalls that I'm trying to figure out in my head by myself, because it's my responsibility, and sometimes taking on what's not my responsibility. But I know that if I don't do it and somebody else does, it'll be more work for me on the back end. I know we've all experienced that, right? With saying, I have to do it. But it's also so like, I definitely am going to be on Eventbrite signing up, for next Tuesday, to have it and to know that it's there, to have and to hold, as a safe place, but also in my other areas. So AI has been, for me, a godsend in providing information that I can't get. I was used to living in a big city where it was very easy to go and get resources in Baltimore and Chicago and Houston and Atlanta. But now, back in small town, the physicians don't know. The pharmacists don't know. The nurse practitioners that come out are, At certain stages, when you are at what's considered to be hospice status for your loved one, the resources are very limited because they can't follow directions, and especially in a small town, you don't have the programs where people have put in and said, I'm going to get a grant and I'm going to help with this or this aspect of things. I have used that to create my own resources, whether it's a planner that I did for it's beyond the caregiving. So it's life after caregiving, which is me putting myself in the mindset of what do I need to be prepared for? Because I think about that my father was who I didn't spend time with, but my father was a vet and came back and was not prepared. The US wasn't prepared for them to come back either. But I don't want to not be prepared and get out of this and go, oh, who am I? What do I want to do? Where do I want to live? What do I love? All of that. All of my kids, my grandkids are in another city. So I'm in Alabama, they're in North Carolina. So I'm also, short on, feel like I'm not giving them all. So trying to balance from your caregiving responsibility to the other people that you feel like you should be giving to as well, and having to have that conversation with them. But AI has helped me prolong his life so much that the nurses are like, we enjoy coming because there's something to do. Yeah, because you can't do physical therapy. I do. I figure out what supplements help him sleep. I figure out what decreases the inflammation. I figured out what supplements and diet got him off of insulin shots. So now he's on an at-need basis. But these are things, like I say, I really had to pour in and use those cross medications that he was taking, that some doctor didn't take him off, that was still on when they gave him something else, and we're wondering why he's in the chair just comatose. But the using AI to do that, to look at that, modify recipes. We're a Southern home, and that's my mother's love language. So figuring out how to modify the recipes to assist with all of those things, that's for me. And then the people I put around me, that I say, if I disappear, if you don't see me on social, if you don't see me in the DMs, please come looking for me. And don't just accept, a superficial answer, because I can give you one. But I need to have people that are going to pry, they're going to call my mom, put up smoke signals, and eventually send the police to the door to say, we haven't seen anything of them. Because when it gets to that point, if they say I'm going to respond to them, right? I don't want. But I need the community to be looking for me. Because we right now, if you look at, Lani, if we weren't combined in activities, we know that there's so many things going on that we can't keep up with our own friends. And with the things that are going on with them, if you're saying, well, nobody's checked on me lately and I should, that person that checks on you all the time is in need of being checked on right now. When you look around and nobody's checked on you, that means the people that check on you are checking out themselves. So we need to check on those people. And so I'm grateful for the Shine organization, the extension of that with Be Extraordinary Women and Empowering You and Be Awesome. And then the Celebrating Tour. And resources, I have a bundle, a caregiving collection that has a podcast that I was in, an article, the AI 10 things that I affirm with that, 2 other contributions. It just has become the way I got certified and all of that, just because you want to do it the best you can when it's left up to you. And to speak to the time, yes, I did it to preserve my mom. just like Savvy said, I noticed that there was the twisted ankle, the pulled shoulder, the, how many more times was something
Yeah.
going to happen with her trying to assist him and so I had to come, but now I need that as well,
Yeah.
So thanks for the
Yeah.
conversation, Lani.
Yeah. And that's why we're here, is to create these conversations, because like we said at the beginning, caregivers get lost. And so having a community that can keep you from getting lost or check on you or find you is so important. And we each have our ways of connecting with that. And definitely thanks to Debbie Prediger and the Be Extraordinary Women's Network and Shine Circle for bringing this opportunity to the world. And I just wanted to share one of my simple resources, going back to our theme of remember to breathe. And it's something that people kind of look like, that's so simple. Does it really work? And it's just to take a Post-it note, a square Post-it note, and put the number 4 on each side. And put this wherever you need to see it, wherever you find yourself having the most tension, whether it's on your mirror, on your computer screen, on your refrigerator, but it's the box breathing method. And so you just go one side, you inhale to the count of 4, you hold it to the count of 4, you exhale to the count of 4, and hold it to the count of 4. And this simple tool is actually used by Navy SEALs when they're in crisis, settings, when they're ready to go on their mission, when they're in the midst of it. They pause enough to take this breath, this box breath, this count of 4. And it just helps regulate your system, reset, give your brain enough oxygen to make the right decision. So grab a Post-it note and put that up wherever you need it today. So now just one final thought. What takeaway or what final thought would you like to leave with the viewers, with our audience today? Either one of you can jump in.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I think the final thought that I would leave, and I really love that you talked about being prepared and sharing that, and using AI for the good is always a great thing. And I love that you shared that, because especially with medications, what a great way to look at how to balance all of that and even bring in some maybe herbal solutions or holistic treatments. So what a great idea. And I definitely want to try that myself after this. But I think that that was something that I always thought about. And at the end of sort of this caregiving journey with my parents, my reflection was, that could have been a lot different if we were prepared for it. Imagine going on a camping trip and just on a whim and deciding to hop in the car and start driving somewhere to spend the night, or, out in the woods, away from civilization. And that's sort of what a caregiving journey is. You go from calm to chaos, and all of a sudden you're camping and you don't know what to do. You have no tent, you have no water, you have, and so how can we prepare better for that? And so with Give Me a Break, we developed the Care Receiving Plan. And the Care Receiving Plan now we're going through is an 8-part educational series workshop. And it's a free workshop that we're doing, and we're doing it in person currently. And eventually we'll do it online. But right now we're doing it in person, and we're helping caregivers to develop a care receiving plan that includes anything you could possibly even imagine that you need to have in place. And I don't just mean the regular things. I mean all kinds of things, even things about yourself that you need to have in place for your caregiving. And I guess my final thought would be is that the one way we can change the landscape of caregiving to one of survival and potential death is to be more prepared. And that's to start developing our care receiving plans. And how do we do that? And what can we do to be more prepared for that in the future. And so if then we're going to receive care, if our caregiver now knows every single possible thing they need to know, then that makes it that much easier. And then when they have to have care and their caregiver knows and their caregiver knows and so on, we change that landscape. We can change the statistic in a grassroots way. I mean, could we get funding one day? Woo, wouldn't that be great if they actually had funding for caregiver support programs? But, that's something we advocate for with Give Me a Break as well. But I digress. But how do we handle it without that? We develop our own care receiving plan.
Yeah.
And we help you to be prepared to receive care. And that changes everything.
Yeah.
So that's my final thought, is that we can do something and put ourselves first. And that includes being prepared to receive care ourselves.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Staci, what is your final thought or takeaway?
And I'm so in line with Savvy. It was the fact of envisioning yourself now and what your needs may be potentially, and even beyond that, the imaginable. Are you and your family and your friends prepared if this was you tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Because we are looking at it from, you have more examples of it, but for most people, they're thinking, oh, this is because of aging. And so I've still got 20 years before anybody would even have to worry about that. No, you don't. It can be a car accident tomorrow. It could be a stroke tomorrow. It can be, I was in Chicago and drove by, and the bus had just come after me and drove off into the stand, and somebody sitting at the bus stop, was hit. And that was somebody's daughter, right?
Yeah.
And not just mother. So we don't know. So the planning needs to start now.
Mm-hmm.
And if you plan now, and the younger you are, I bet it will change the direction of your finances, your preparation, because a lot of it is getting to that point or being in that position. Family's not prepared financially.
Mm-hmm.
There's a power of attorney, but not a medical power of attorney. So siblings are still fighting, or whoever's still fighting. There is too much money to be able to get the right assistance. So you don't qualify for certain things, yet you didn't have that type of insurance in place. Yeah. Nobody got long-term care because that was too much money at 27 to be considering getting long-term care for $92 a month, or, so I'm totally with her. It's about starting now and saying, I'm here. And so what would I want? Can I select, can I look at facilities? Can I look at what option? Do I know the different stages of facilities, from independent living to assisted living to memory care to, so that, and we have to teach it. We have to speak to it, and we have to speak, if you have children, having those conversations with them. What are your desires too?
Yeah.
A lot of things to just kind of go back, and as you check the things off, if you are a caregiver, if you're checking them off for your loved one, now you need to come back and to take care of them for you. Yeah, my daughter's like, I don't know what your blood type is. If there was an emergency, I don't know where all you own property or not, and I'm going, wow,
Yeah.
So having that book, that Bible, to have that kind of information. And I've started one as well. So Savvy, I may give you what I have, but you have to have your own Bible for survival.
We definitely need to collaborate. And it's something that's going to continue to grow too, right? Because your care receiving plan encompasses so much. This is just, I have a basic folder going right now,
Yeah.
and people are overwhelmed.
Mhm.
And I'm like, take it one step at a time, you
Yeah.
know? So
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you both, because as you can see, this conversation is multifaceted. And we could go on for hours, but we won't do that today. We're going to come back with
Aw.
we're coming back with a series, 4-part series. So kind of dive into each of those caregiving roles a little bit more, more resources, and more stories about finding our way back to our authentic selves. And so we invite you to connect with any of us here. But again, I want to thank Debbie Prediger. And Debbie, I'm going to ask if you could come on right for us to close, but also before that, Savvy and Dr. Staci, please let our guests know how they can connect with you. What's the quickest way for someone to connect with you?
I'll go first on that. Yeah. She's got the bigger organization. So royaltablequeens.com is where you can find me. And it is an organization that I have put together, an ecosystem that focuses on Gen X women. And it really focuses on their visibility, credibility, and using those to leverage to leave a legacy behind. But one of the legs inside there that will get expanded is the caregiving lane, because that's the role that many are playing. And with this economy, it has even gotten more critical, because where the Gen X women have thought they have gotten their grown kids off and together, now are finding that with separations, divorces, loss of a car, loss of a home, so many things, they are back into the role of potentially taking them into the home or providing financial subsidies for them. So how do you do that? We need more to generate more revenue, but how do we do that as passively as possible? So supporting, and again, the Shine Leadership Advantage is part of that, to help provide the framework, the Shine framework for all of those women. So that's where I can be found. And I will be found over at Give Me a Break on Tuesday nights, getting support as well. Pass it off to you, Savvy.
I love that. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. So Give Me a Break is our organization. Just take it as an acronym, GAB. And we're here in Hawaii. That's where we started. I'm born, raised, and made here. So it's GAB 808 is our area code. So GAB808.org. And we're an all volunteer nonprofit organization. So we do not have funding. We need all the help we can get. We appreciate all wonderful gifts of heart that you can send to us. But please check out our website. It's a font of information. And if you need to contact us, just contact me at info@gab808.org. And I respond to all the info ads. So I'm happy to help you and help you find resources. And it's not limited to here in Hawaii. We can help you anywhere in the continental US. I've even helped find resources in Japan for someone at one point. So please let me know what we can do. And Lani, thank you so much for this. And it is, Doctor, it's just been a wonderful pleasure getting to know you as well. And I hope we do connect later, and for allowing us to have a voice again, because we need to be heard, right? You know, my thing, right? We're here, we're here, we're here. So yeah, we need to be heard. So thank you for that. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And you can find me at alakaiassociates.com, and we will put that in the chat as well. And also, you probably can find most of us on Facebook or LinkedIn. But now I want to call in Debbie Prediger, who made this all possible.
Mhm.
Oh, well, he got to go to sleep, so this has been wonderful. Lani, you know, calling me
We
for
didn't bore him, did we? I thought we
Yeah.
didn't bore him.
It's grandson.
no, you didn't bore him at all. This has been wonderful. What a conversation, and I'm so excited to hear that there's going to be more in this series, because I am definitely one of those that has been a caregiver as a retired nurse. I'm caregiving right now. I've supported caregivers. I have been part of award systems for caregivers. I speak about caregiving, and yet a lot of people might not even know that about me. So it's what are we known for?
Yeah.
And I would say that each one of you, somebody would say a specific thing of what you're known for. But Lani, like you telling people to remember to breathe, I feel like that's a signature. Even if you've heard it before, it's like, yeah, Lani told me to remember to breathe.
Yeah.
Savi told me that there is resources available for those, and that we need to pack all of our, I can't even remember how you said it, but it was like, wow, it's like packing your parachute. How are you taking care of you? How are you ready for this next evolution? And then Dr. Staci, I mean, for me, I see you as a caregiver. You're somebody that's so knowledgeable, but how to save time as a caregiver so that you do have time for yourself. Those resources that you call in, it's just absolutely fantastic. So I'll hand it back to you, Lani.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. One last thing I want to ask everybody that has been watching or will watch a replay to post your picture of you with your Post-it note, wherever you post it, wherever you need it, and share it on all of our social media channels so that we all can remember to breathe. So thank you for giving yourself the gift of this time with us, and aloha.
Oh.